to the law and these things to then be able to carry force. And you say, okay, well, there's Khagai and he's running for governor, and he has been, because really, what are you going to do? You're going to stop the guy from running? The EACC and the IBC have proven to us time and time again that you can actually approve questionable characters to go and vie for politicals, because so you can't really depend on them. So this would go back to the court. Somebody would be, maybe a private petitioner would go to court and say, no, Khagai is running and he shouldn't be. But that process takes very long.
Yes.
But what you're saying is that it is not the brick and mortar that's the problem, that it is the software. How do you reset the software? Is it people who, that in the minds of people, say, well, actually, you know what, I was impeached, so I really shouldn't run. How many people will do that? Because there's not the same thing that we are depending on for, again, I go back to the UK example of Starmer saying, okay, can you imagine? I received gifts and they were in excess of what I should have received, albeit that he reported himself late, and that's what caused the whole hullabaloo. But he's, on that alone, said, I'm going to step aside just because of that. And we are even saying just because of that, because we have lowered the threshold for integrity so low that it sounds like, how can somebody step aside because they received gifts? Are you kidding? People have killed others and they're still in office, allegedly. So how do you reset that software?
It starts from us. Like I said, we have to love our country, first and foremost. And we have, like you rightfully say, for Starmer to actually decide to step aside, or for Boris Johnson during the COVID pandemic, he went for a party.
He was outside.
You see, for that to happen, it means that there's a certain threshold they have for that seat, or for leadership, that if you fall beneath that, then that means you can no longer serve in that office. Now, we have not set any threshold for these offices. We celebrate those who are charged in court. It's very easy for someone to have a corruption case. The moment they have that case, they'll say, we are being targeted as a community. That person will be on the ballot and be elected. Sad reality. Anatuibia anatuletea sisi. Once you say that, you are the problem. What do you mean anakuibia anatuletea? Ni mwezi wetu. That tells you,
tuache na mwezi wetu.
At least we anaiba na analeta. Hey, if you put it that way, then we are lost as a country. So it starts from us. And I keep saying, before we point at those leaders, you look at yourself in the mirror. Because the problem we have is, yes, the issue of poverty in this country is crazy. Unemployment is crazy. And that's why you have young men being misused these days. I don't like calling them goons. Being misused these days to actually pursue political agendas or to help certain politicians. And that is why we keep saying, instead of Singapore, we are now in Haiti, because these young men are being misused. Now, these political leaders, they take advantage of this poverty that we have in this country. That is why there are people, when you give that 500 shillings, it has assisted them in ways we cannot explain. So we have to be it civic education, be it I don't know what we have to do, but at the end of the day, citizens have to understand that leaders are meant to work for you. Have to understand that you do not need to sell your vote for you to actually get a good leader. And I will usually say this because we've all gone to school. Let's say a large percentage of this country has gone to school. Whenever you're doing an exam, when there's a question you've been asked, you have the right answer, right? So that means you always know between right and wrong. Whenever you're inputting your M-Pesa PIN, you put the right pin, right? That means we know the difference between right and wrong. So why do we go wrong when we're electing people? If that old shosho in the village can put her right pin kwa M-Pesa, why do we vote for the wrong people? It goes back to us. It is the way we have grown up. It is what we have seen. Then that means you need to have a reset. I thought we'll have a reset after the Gen Z revolution, but we've gone back to our tribal cocoons, number one. We've gone back celebrating the same people that we actually had an issue with. So it's upon us to actually want a better country, not just for us, but for those who come after us. Because for those who believe that all my problems can be solved in one day by meeting a political leader, that also stems the problem, because they believe nikipatana ule jamaa leo shida yangu yote imeisha. So yako ikiisha yawa. And that is why there are those who can actually take up arms and fight for political leaders, because they believe huyu ni mtu nikimpigia na shika, huyu ni mtu wangu anaweza nichunga. Sasa wewe kama wanakusaidia na mimi. So that tells you we are selfish again. So we have to ask ourselves, we have to be patriotic. That means selflessness. So those are the things we need to work around. Up until then, we'll just be here,